Hello and welcome. If you found your way here, chances are you're like me, someone who seeks to understand the deeper layers of the self, someone who isn't satisfied with surface level answers. As a Scorpio, you're no stranger to intensity, intuition, and emotional depth. You feel things others don't, and you perceive what often goes un. But have you ever paused to consider whether your blood type, something as seemingly biological and objective as that, might reveal something deeper about who you are? About how you think, how you love, how you connect? This video is a quiet reflection between you and me, a space where we explore the hidden links between your blood type and your inner personality. And from that foundation, we'll move into what each blood type says about our traits, our emotional responses, and even our compatibility with others, all through the lens of someone who carries the profound essence of Scorpio. You, as a Scorpio with blood type O, are a force of nature, dynamic, magnetic, and instinctively in tune with the emotional currents around you. There's a natural charisma that flows from you, something others can't quite name, but are undeniably drawn to. You don't need to chase attention. It finds you. Whether in a group setting or one-on-one, your energy has presence, quietly powerful, deeply felt, and impossible to ignore. You bring intensity into every interaction, not just through words, but through your emotional resonance. There's something about the way you listen, the way you observe, and the way you hold space for others that makes people feel seen. As a Scorpio, you don't settle for a surface level connection. You crave depth. And your blood type O only amplifies that urge to belong, to unite, to contribute meaningfully to your environment. You thrive when you're able to share your vitality with others, when you're part of something larger than yourself. But there's another side to this strength, a quieter, more concealed reality that only you truly understand. Jealousy, for example, often doesn't arrive with noise or confrontation. For you, it's more insidious, more internal. It surfaces in subtle ways, through comparison, through a lingering question of whether you're truly seen, appreciated, or chosen. And because you so often play the role of the strong one, the generous one, the radiant one, it's easy for others to overlook the emotional weight you quietly carry. This emotional tension, when left unattended, can harden into resentment or self-doubt. It can create emotional blockages that make you feel distant, even in the presence of others. That's why inner work is not just a luxury, it's a necessity for you. One of the most powerful ways to restore harmony within yourself is through heart chakra work. Your heart is the center of both your vulnerability and your power. Meditation focused on opening and softening this energy center will allow your emotions to move instead of being trapped in stillness. You don't need to suppress what you feel. You need to let it flow with compassion and clarity. Peridot, a stone deeply associated with emotional healing and renewal, is especially aligned with your energy. It encourages the release of emotional baggage, dissolves hidden jealousy, and brings lightness to the areas of your heart that feel heavy. Even simply carrying it with you can serve as a reminder that your emotional world deserves just as much care as the energy you extend to others. Ultimately, your true power doesn't lie only in your ability to connect with others. It lies in your ability to connect with yourself. When you are aligned within, when your inner world is grounded and supported, your outer relationships flourish naturally. You don't have to overextend, perform, or prove. You simply show up as you are, deep, intuitive, and whole, and that is more than enough. So take time to tend to your emotional terrain. Your energy is a gift, but your peace is your anchor. If you're a Scorpio with blood type A, there's a quiet strength within you that doesn't seek recognition, but is impossible to ignore. You carry yourself with a steady, unwavering presence, a kind of inner gravity that others sense, even if they can't fully understand it. You're not loud, but you're deeply impactful. You don't rush, but you move with purpose. Everything you do has weight, meaning, and intention. You're the kind of person who holds the structure of things together, whether in your family, your relationships, or your personal commitments. Your sense of responsibility runs deep, almost like a sacred duty you don't take lightly. You may not always speak about it, but you feel a quiet calling to show up, to protect, to support. to hold space when others falter. There's something profoundly admirable about that. And yet, as you might have noticed in yourself, that same strength can sometimes become a barrier. When your beliefs become fixed, when your routines become rigid, when your view of the world narrows into certainty, you may unknowingly close the door on growth, on change, and on possibility. You may find yourself resisting new perspectives simply because they don't fit the structure you've already built inside your mind. You may hold on to old ways, not out of fear, but out of loyalty to your values, to your history, to what once kept you safe. But here's the truth. Even the strongest roots must allow for new branches to grow. Even the most grounded soul needs movement to evolve. So I invite you gently but wholeheartedly to loosen your grip just a little. You don't have to abandon your values. You don't have to become someone you're not. But what if you allowed yourself to experiment, to question, to explore without fear of losing who you are? Growth doesn't mean disconnection from your essence. It means allowing that essence to expand, to breathe, to stretch into new dimensions of yourself. It means trusting that your depth as a Scorpio, combined with your grounded sense of responsibility from blood type A, can evolve into something even more powerful, something even more whole. If you're a Scorpio with blood type B, you carry a fire that few can match. There's a boldness in you, a raw, untamed energy that fuels your passions and drives you to create, to initiate, to lead. You move with purpose, with intensity, and often with a spark that ignites everything around you. People may describe you as fearless, driven, even electric, and they're not wrong. You have a visionary spirit. You see possibilities where others see limits. You're not afraid to take risks, to carve your own path, to break free from convention. And as a Scorpio, your depth adds an emotional force behind every action. You don't just do things, you feel them. You pour yourself entirely into what you believe in. And when you commit with your whole being. But let's pause here for a moment, because you know as well as I do that this fire, if left unchecked, can sometimes burn too hot. You may have noticed it in yourself, the sharp edge of frustration when things don't move at your pace, the impatience when others don't share your level of focus, or the quick temper that flares up when your boundaries feel even slightly challenged. There's also a tendency, perhaps you've seen it too, to become so absorbed in your vision, your goals, your creative world, that you unintentionally pull away from those around you, not because you don't care, but because your inner fire burns so brightly, it becomes all-consuming. And in that intensity, the softer voices, the needs, emotions, and perspectives of others can fade into the background. So here's an invitation not to dim your fire, but to channel it with wisdom. Balance is not about limiting your passion. It's about expanding your awareness. It's about learning to hold both your own voice and the voices of those you care. It's about remembering that true power is not just in action, but in listening. Not just in leading, but in connecting. You don't need to abandon your independence or your fierce drive, but consider creating space to check in with the hearts around you. Ask yourself, am I moving so fast that I've stopped feeling? Am I building something extraordinary but forgetting to share the journey? You'll be amazed at how much stronger your relationships become when your fire is met with warmth, not just intensity. When your voice inspires but also listens. When your creativity becomes a shared rhythm, not a solo performance. If you're a Scorpio with blood type AB, you carry within you a rare fusion, a delicate interplay between emotional sensitivity and intellectual clarity. You're not easily defined. There's a quiet sophistication in the way you perceive life, a multi-layered understanding of the world that often places you several steps ahead of others, not because you try to be, but because your mind and heart naturally operate on a deeper frequency. You feel deeply, yet you analyze thoroughly. You intuit things before they happen, yet you still seek logical patterns to make sense of what you already sense instinctively. This duality can be both your gift and your challenge. It makes you adaptable, insightful, and able to see multiple sides of a situation, something that many admire, even envy. But let's be honest, living in two worlds simultaneously isn't always easy. Sometimes you get stuck in the in-between. Your thoughts spiral, your intuition whispers one thing while your logic pulls you another way. Decision-making can become a mental maze, and you may find yourself overthinking, second-guessing, reanalyzing things that should have been simple. It's not indecisiveness in the traditional sense. It's the weight of your internal complexity. You feel everything, you understand everything, and that can be exhausting. Have you noticed how often your mind races while your body stays still? How you can appear calm on the outside, yet inside there's a storm of questions, possibilities, and scenarios playing out? This internal dissidence isn't a flaw. It's simply a sign that you need space to recalibrate. One of the most nourishing things you can do for yourself is to retreat, not in isolation, but in stillness. Water has always been the natural element of Scorpio, but for you, it becomes more than just a symbol. It's a mirror, a purifier, a grounding force. Spend time near water, or better yet, meditate with the sound of flowing water surrounding you. Let it quiet the mental noise. Let it help your emotions breathe freely without needing to make sense of everything at once. Aquamarine is a crystal that holds a similar essence. It soothes mental agitation, clarifies thought, and softens emotional tension. It doesn't push your duality away. It helps you harmonize it. When you work with aquamarine, you're not choosing between heart and mind. You're letting them speak the same language. And perhaps that's your true gift. Not just the ability to feel deeply or to think clearly, but to do both at once with grace. You don't need to force resolution. You just need space for integration. As we bring this journey to a close, remember this. You, as a Scorpio with blood type AB, are not meant to be simplified. You are meant to be understood in layers. Let that be your strength, not your burden. As a Scorpio, you don't just connect with people, you feel them. You pick up on unspoken energy, subtle shifts in tone, undercurrents that most overlook. It's part of your nature, this ability to sense what lies beneath the surface. And perhaps that's why you've always known. Some people ignite something deep within you instantly, while others, no matter how kind, how well-intentioned, leave you feeling strangely disconnected. What if part of that invisible pull, that magnetic or dissonant energy between souls, is influenced by something as overlooked as blood type? Think of blood type not just as a biological trait, but as an energetic code, a kind of subconscious signature. It doesn't define everything, but it whispers in the background, shaping the way two people interact, clash, or complement each other. And for someone as attuned as you are, even those whispers can feel like thunder. Let's explore that for a moment together. If you've ever been in a relationship where everything should work on paper, but something always feels off, it might not be about flaws or incompatibility. It could be energetic friction. On the other hand, those connections that feel effortless, electric, even fated, perhaps they're not just chemistry, but resonance at a subtler level. Take, for instance, the dynamic between type A and type B opposites in so many ways. One thrives in structure, the other in spontaneity. It's no surprise that this pairing often feels like water meeting fire. Compelling, yes, but also full of sparks and smoke. Have you experienced that kind of clash before? The kind where every conversation feels like a debate, and yet you can't look away? Or what about the pairing of type O and type AB? A dance between chaos and creativity. There's passion, intensity, and unpredictability. It's thrilling, but also demanding. It takes emotional maturity to ride those waves without getting pulled under. Sound familiar? And then there's type B and type AB, a potent mix of visionary thinking and emotional depth. This can be an incredible creative partnership, but it requires emotional transparency. Without it, misunderstandings creep in, and hurt builds silently beneath the surface. And when two AB types come together, it's like two mirrors reflecting each other. Profound understanding, shared intuition, a soul-level bond, but be mindful, this kind of connection needs space. Too much closeness can blur boundaries, and even soulmates need room to breathe. So I invite you now to reflect. Have you noticed these patterns in your own life? The people who challenge you, the ones who drain you, and those rare few who just get you without a word. Could there be a deeper thread connecting it all? Understanding these dynamics isn't about labeling people or making decisions based on blood type alone. It's about adding another layer of awareness to your relationships, something that helps you navigate them with more clarity, compassion, and self-trust. Because at the end of the day, Scorpio, your gift is not just intensity, it's perception. And the more you understand the energies at play around you, the more powerful your connections become. Now, take a breath and think of the people closest to you. What might their blood types be saying about the way your souls are intertwined? Let's continue this reflection together. Scorpio is more than just a zodiac sign. It is a journey, a path of self-discovery, a passage through shadow toward light. And the more you understand the layers within you, your patterns, your emotional language, even something as seemingly subtle as your blood type, the more deeply you come to recognize another fragment of your soul's truth. If today's insights have resonated with your inner path, if you've recognized parts of yourself through the lens of blood type and energy, take a moment to share your reflection in the comments below. And if this message has spoken to you, consider subscribing to this channel and sharing this video with others who carry the same depth of spirit. Because the more we understand ourselves, the more we illuminate the path for those around us.